Hello, welcome to the Armchair Judges podcast. I'm your host Ben, joined by Aidan.
How you going?
And Trevor.
What's up?
What's news?
We're here in the middle of a storm, reviewing.
What are
Scoring.
we? Yeah, scoring. We're reviewing TJ Dillashaw versus Dominic Cruz.
I think you'll find that's our patron saint of footwork.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
It does sound like a Catholic saint, like Dominic Cruz, eh?
Yeah.
January 17th, 2016, TD Garden, Boston.
Fucking Boston.
For the UFC Bantamweight title. Dillashaw is 12-2, I think. And Cruz is 20-1. You guys have any memories of watching this fight live? Or?
Yeah, I watched it live.
I watched it live.
Yeah, I think me and Trev watched it together.
Yeah. This was on like a Monday or something here, wasn't it? It was like some one of those holiday cards, I think, that they do over there.
Oh, it might have been.
It was weird because it wasn't it was a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fight night.
I remember you were messaging me throughout the fight saying who you thought it was winning at the time. But so yeah, I didn't watch it live, but I watched it later in the evening when I finished work. Solid undercard for a fight night again. Anthony Pettis versus Anthony Alvarez and Travis Brown and Matt Mitrione. Pretty decent for a free card.
Yeah, back when the pay-per-views were actually still something to pay for.
Yeah, well, this wasn't even a pay-per-view. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But
Oh, yeah.
that was back when the pay-per-views were actually worth paying for. He says having spent $60 on the pay-per-view for us to watch tonight.
Yeah, so Dillashaw's coming in as a champion here. Just wanted to talk a little bit about those two fights with Barao. Your memories of those fights?
Yeah, at the time, because I've always been a big Cruz fan. At the time, I was sort of like, when we were saying about Barao Cruz having to go back and fight this guy who's been killing everyone, and then TJ just fucks him up.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, that's cool, fucking.
Yeah.
And especially after Cruz got the judge's decision in this fight, was like, fucking, so we can safely say Cruz would have won.
Yeah.
Not happy, given that, TJ tested positive for EPO. And especially, a lot of people, it's a fucking bad take I've seen in that. People saying that doesn't help him knocking people out. His style is based on fucking volume.
Yeah. And
nothing helps him like cardio.
Yeah. Little similar to the kind of, you were talking the other day about Garbrandt never been the same.
Yeah. Barao
was never the same.
Barao never recovered from those fights.
TJ beat the shit out of him.
And it's the unfortunate thing because I love TJ. I loved his fight against John Dodson, which I think was a tough finale.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Cleaned him up. And I was like, holy fuck, this kid's a stud. But now, again, no matter what he's done, no matter what he does, there's that asterisk. Was that the time he got caught? Was it the first time he got caught? Or the first time he doped? And it's like, I don't think it's,
And he's stayed a piece of shit because remember that the last fight he had versus Aljamain Sterling, he then, dislocates his shoulder. For one, he misled them, saying a bit like he hadn't told them he was dislocating his shoulder in camp, which he should have done.
Yeah.
But then once he lost, he could have at least had decency to go, I was just getting fucked up, I was going to lose anyway. And instead goes, I actually dislocated my shoulder fucking however many times.
This is the thing. And I know we haven't gotten to biases yet, and I have absolutely no bias towards our patron saint of footwork. But, goddamn it, I forgot my train of thought.
TJ's a piece of shit.
Yeah, TJ's a piece of shit. Sorry, that's my train of thought. Was when he lost that fight against Cejudo, the first thing he did was start complaining about everything.
And then he popped 2
days later. And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
you're in no position now, given what we know now, to be doing that shit because you're just gonna.
After the second Garbrandt fight, I was before he popped, obviously, I was pretty much saying TJ is the bantamweight goat. Yeah, how do you guys feel about the topic of PEDs overall, broadly? Because I kind of think that a lot of it's overdone insofar as what exactly is a performance enhancing drug? EPO is a little different though. Is it kind
Well,
of
when you have a guy who gets, a 2-year ban for EPO, but you want to suspend a guy for 5 years in the twilight of his career for smoking a bit of reefer,
like
Diaz,
yeah.
there's a weird. It's not even double standard. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, like, insofar, like, steroids is, like, a weird thing because it's, like, what exactly is performance-enhancing? Like, is eating a good diet performance-enhancing? Like,
it's artificially performance-enhancing. It's in the same way that loading new clubs is performance-enhancing.
Anyone can eat a good diet.
Yeah.
Let's see what the results are naturally.
But, yeah, like, all that aside, I do think EPO is a little different because of what you said before. Like, his style is cardio and output, so it literally is performance enhancing for him, I guess.
It's also really, really stupid. Like, it's fucking dangerous.
It is dangerous. So if Dillashaw is 12-2 here, so he fought Barao twice and what was it, Soto or something, fought between those two guys, between Barao. Does that mean he was like 9-2 getting, was he like a late replacement for the title shot against Barao? Or was he, because he doesn't really have any notable wins before Barao and then he gets a title shot.
I didn't look at that one. I looked at what happened with Soto, and that was meant to be a Barao fight.
Yeah.
But, Soto was literally coming in from some, like, no-name promotion. 15-2 with no UFC fights.
Oh, really?
So that was at UFC 177, which I just remembered off the top of my head and definitely aren't Googling it right now.
The thing that sort of was a bit weird that I looked up coming into this was Cruz was, like, despite only being a year older, he was sort of the old man of the division.
Yeah.
He'd only had 3 UFC fights at this point. Had the UD over Uriah Faber, UD over Demetrius Johnson, then the KO over Takeo Mizugaki.
They were like his only 3 fights in like a 5-year stretch as well, because he had like a real horror run of injury, didn't he? Yeah,
those first two were in 2011. The Mizugaki fight was in 2014, and this fight's 2016.
Yeah, so there you go.
At this point, Dillashaw's had 10 UFC fights, including the 2 fights that ended Barao's career, and 2 bantamweight title defences in total.
So, going into the Barao fight, he won against Mike Easton, and before that he lost to
Sanse.
Arsenal Cow, and went over Hio Viana. The guys that...
So there's not really any notable wins.
There's no one that jumps out as a name there.
Oh, yeah, and he lost to Dodson as well.
Oh, yeah, it was Dodson that knocked him out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I forgot that. Starched my previous comments about him.
I think we mentioned in the previous episode that they feel like they're from different eras, but they're the same age. And they are. Like, Cruz made his name in, like, WEC and stuff, really, didn't he?
Well, they mentioned in this fight tonight that, was it Cruz had only fought a couple of times in the last...
Yeah, 3 and 5 years.
3 and 5 years. So, I mean, this is a guy that was like... I love Dominic Cruz, obviously, but it's what could have been.
Yeah.
If he was...
Hey, still
in better condition.
He still had a...
He's still fantastic.
Still had a good run for considering the time lost.
But man, that's a lot of time he lost.
Yeah.
And it's really sad to think what fights we could have had.
I would have liked to have seen him fight like Frankie Edgar when Edgar was at featherweight. Another thing to mention, I guess, this is the another kind of chapter in the Dominic Cruz versus Team Alpha Male kind of thing that went on for
way too long.
Yes, yeah.
Let's just be honest, that went on for way too long.
It was like it's been close to like 5 or 6 years that was going on with
Vince McMahon couldn't have written that long a rivalry.
Yeah, 3 fights with Faber.
By Thunder.
Yeah. Yeah, Faber, Dillashaw and Garbrandt. Yeah, he fought like nearly all their top guys around that weight.
I didn't watch it, but was there a huge Ron Perlman promo at this stage?
Yeah. I started that and then I was like, yeet.
Why do they do that shit? Like, who gives a fuck about Ron Perlman?
Do you know who they should bring back? Anthony Bourdain. Oh, no, never mind.
You know what they should do, though, is just have a pretty basic highlights package with the commentary that was in the fight over it, and then just pay the fighters.
Yeah.
Speaking of paying some fucking washed up Hollywood cunt when you could pay the dudes who were getting punched in the face for a living.
This was probably the height of Sons of Anarchy, bro. When this was
yeah.
Riding through this octagon all alone.
Speaking of pay, anyone know anything about purses for this fight?
We're scrambling here.
Yeah, I always forget about looking up purses.
So I know that I can tell you the attendance was 12,790 for a total gate of 1.3 million.
Oh, yeah.
Reported payouts is what we've got here. So Dominic Cruz got 110 grand, including a 55,000 win bonus, which is abysmal.
Yeah.
To defeat TJ, who only got 70 grand.
Holy shit.
To put that into perspective, Eddie Alvarez got 100 grand to win without a win bonus to defeat Anthony Pettis, who got 80 grand. Travis Brown got 120 grand with a 60,000 win bonus to defeat Matt Mitrione for $36,000. God damn it, pay your fighters.
That is bad.
Why are you paying Travis Brown more than fucking Dominic?
Francisco Trinaldo got 54,000 with a 27,000 win bonus to defeat Ross Pearson at 48,000. Patrick Cote got 86,000 with a 43,000 win bonus to defeat Ben Saunders, who got 18 grand. And it just gets sadder from here as I keep reading it. So let's just...
That is pretty bad, like a champion getting paid $70,000.
Yeah. And I know that there's all these backroom deals, and maybe back then they still had some sponsorship, but that's fucking
actually,
abysmal.
was this Reebok?
This was Reebok, yeah.
Yeah. Did you take notes of the referees and...
Yep, we got Herb Dean as a referee. Judges are David Ginsbury, who I think is new to the channel. Tony Weeks and Sal D'Amato.
Sorry, I'm trying not to rustle my papers, people.
Yeah, I'll say that again. David Ginsbury, Tony Weeks and Sal D'Amato, the judges.
All right. Biases? No biases?
Really fucking hate TJ. And really like Dominic Cruz. So very biased in this one.
I have absolutely no biases. Despite the fact that this is, again, our patron saint of footwork versus Dilla Dickbag.
Yeah. So, used to not like Cruz, but eventually became a pretty big fan. TJ at the time, I liked him, but now I don't. So
yeah, it's kind of actually, as much as I want to make a joke about it, back then I big Cruz fan, but loved what TJ's style, again, pre-popping for being a cheat.
Well, they basically had the same style, and that's why I liked TJ back in the day. I've always liked fighters who move a lot in boxing as well.
This was always going to be a fantastic fight.
All right. Do you want to do the driving for the fight?
All right. So, well, initially they're being announced, and Cruz does a little bit of an Irish dance while he's being announced, and then TJ goes to his corner and huffs some EPO. TJ doesn't want to...
brown paper bag.
TJ doesn't want to touch gloves, which is a bit rich coming from the biggest cunt in the sport.
Again, no biases.
Yeah. All right, so round one starts and both of them are just moving a lot.
Yeah.
Probably more movement in this fight, in this first round, than in any other UFC fight ever.
Yeah.
Spamming kicks, really.
Yeah, and Goldie keeps bringing up, and I just love having Goldie on the commentary.
Oh,
I think we need a petition to bring Goldie back.
He was good.
He was he was just awesome, but he was talking about who's going to fight more emotionally and who's going to fight more tactically, and it was so clear from the get-go that TJ was fighting very emotionally because he was beating the shit out of the air in front of Dominic Cruz for a lot of this fight.
This is... I don't want to, foreshadow too much, but I thought that was a big theme, at least through, the first 3 or 4 rounds of this fight, is TJ having a hard time landing on Cruz.
Oh, Cruz was...
Even when it looks like... Sometimes it looks like he's landing, but then Dom's just doing these little subtle slides and shit out. His head movement is great as well. His
footwork, his elusiveness was astounding in this fight.
Yeah.
There's a point I wanted to bring up later in the fight, but I'll bring it up now anyway. Mike says a statistic from CompuStrike saying that Cruz has landed 43% and TJ's landed 33%. I don't see TJ landing 1 in 3 strikes in this fight.
I've got in 4 different rounds of my notes on this fight that the stats look all wrong.
Yeah.
And this is something we've talked about in a lot of our fights. That I know it's dudes pressing a button, but Jesus, they look horrendously wrong.
Yeah.
And to be fair, at the start, neither of them's landing a lot early on. Cruz does get some counters in, but it takes him a little while to sort of start timing him properly and hitting him sort of hard and square.
Yeah.
TJ straight off the bat starts with his key strategy for this fight, which was to completely fuck up while trying to kick him and fall over.
Yes, I made a note.
He spams a high kick a bit in
He
this
attempts
fight,
a head kick and falls down like a dumbass. This is not the first time I make this note. Again, don't want to foreshadow too much, but he really likes going for a head kick and falling flat on his bum.
He does. I think in round 2 or 3, he does finally land that head kick.
And still falls on his bum.
But it's not the payoff that you would...
No, because he lands the head kick and still falls on his ass.
Something came up pretty early in the fight was that Dom actually, like, he sort of looks like he's real puffed early, but I'm sort of not sure if he actually was. Even Joe Rogan mentions it as well.
If he was puffed, though, like, he's earned it. Like, he moves a lot. Like,
yeah. Doesn't do EPO.
At least not that we're aware of yet.
Yeah. But, he looks tight in round 1, but then doesn't seem to slow down a hell of a lot throughout the fight, so...
That's all that EPO.
Yeah. Straight off the bat, TJ's going for body kicks as well, which becomes a theme throughout the fight.
Yeah.
To mixed success, but does have some good success in round 1 with it.
If EPO wants to like sponsor us, we are mentioning you a whole lot. So make us big hulking steroid monsters.
Yeah.
Isn't it more of like a cardio drug instead of a...
Yeah, it's basically blood doping from what I understand.
That sounds like it could potentially be super AIDS-y.
Yeah, and this doesn't get mentioned by the commentary till later in the fight, but Dom lands a real quick takedown. Turns out that's the first time that TJ's been taken down in the UFC.
Is this in round 2?
Round 1.
Round 1.
All right.
He bounces back up straight away, but...
So the stat, if I recall, came out later in the fight, but they were saying that, that TJ had never been taken down in the UFC before tonight.
Yeah.
And Dom, at the end of this round, with a beautiful takedown.
I think we're getting a little bit ahead, but in the second round, there's one takedown that's like super well timed. That
off the kick or something.
Yeah, Dom. Yeah,
He
I
catches
think
the kick and just takes him.
All right, is that all we got for round 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, great opening round.
Between rounds, the corners were obviously talking to their fighters. TJ's corner says to him, when you touch, the cross is there. Your first 1 or 2 shots don't need to land. That sort of didn't make sense to me. I thought that was shit advice because he's throwing those first 1 or 2 shots and then getting hit in the face.
Yeah, I can kind of understand the advice on like a kind of face level, like kind of like feints or whatever, but he's getting counted quite a bit.
But that's exactly the advice he needed to get, was to feign and draw a response.
The advice he needed
in my
was
opinion.
calm your EPO a little bit, focus on your target, and land a punch.
You're not going to throw the first 1 or 2 and then just follow up with more combinations if you throw the first 1 or 2 and then just get hit.
Yeah.
Tom's corner says he's overcommitting. The harder he goes, the more he misses, and he's already frustrated.
Which is fantastic advice, because that's exactly what was happening.
Yeah, 100%.
Didn't need to butter him up by saying, you're totally winning. Or didn't need to bring him down and go like, hey man, we might be behind here. Didn't need to tell his fighter something that wasn't true to get him in a headspace. Just said, just keep doing it.
Who was... I should have taken a note of this. Who was the alpha male coach? Is this Buckles in the corner with him, or is it the guy who he left with?
Is it Ludwig or is Ludwig?
From TJ's corner was Ludwig.
Ludwig. Yeah.
Who is usually a great coach.
No, he is a good coach.
I think with TJ, I just don't think... sometimes a coach doesn't match a fighter, sometimes a fighter doesn't match a coach.
Maybe he matches more if the opponent's sort of standing there. Maybe he's more of a coach who needs a guy who's not
you
moving.
put a brawler against an absolute tactician, and I think that's what this was.
Yeah. Right, so round 2 starts with a lot of the same stuff that happened basically in round 1.
Yeah, and lots of movement.
Joe starts off by saying TJ has a lot more power, which I can't help but just having to go at TJ. Like, it's easier to maintain that power late in the fight when you're on EPO.
Yeah, well, when you're genetically enhanced, yeah.
And also, like, guys like Barao and stuff are like a lot more like stationary targets, I guess. So
yeah.
But no doubt, his power did look impressive against Barao, but this is not the same. That being said, I thought at around 248 in this fight, it was around there. TJ lands his best shot so far, and he finally does land that head kick that he was spamming for a while.
Lands a good right hand as well. But all around throughout
again,
this round,
though, he lands the head kick
heaps elusive
and falls on his ass. Benny Hill presents a head kick.
There honestly isn't a lot more to talk about in this round, I think.
No,
but,
the kind of the takedowns, I guess. But
yeah, towards the end, like TJ's been having probably his best moments so far.
This was a difficult one for me to score because of that takedown.
Yeah, it was for me initially. I went back and rewatched it and sort of thought it was a lot clearer the second time.
Yeah, I done that too.
He's taken him down twice, pretty quick succession.
I wanted to rewatch this and a couple other rounds. I didn't get time to.
That was one of the rounds that I rewatched. I rewatched 2 of the rounds in this fight. Just to
2 and 5.
2 and 5.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
They were the 2 rounds I really wanted to, but with work and everything, I never got around to.
I think they're the rounds that this fight rests on, to be fair. So,
Easily.
So between rounds, Cruz's corner says to him he's got perfect reads on those takedowns. Don't exit straight back, which is good advice. Like don't just walk straight backwards, cop something. And the classic head body. And TJ's corner says it's probably Dom's round with the 2 takedowns.
Fair call.
Yeah.
Fair call.
Right, so round 3.
Round 3.
Frizzle.
Dom starts, again, heaps elusive, and it's just cracking TJ with counters early.
Yeah, my first note for this round was it's back and forth, but TJ is just so reckless right now.
Yeah.
I wrote TJ is a bit more aggressive, but I still feel like Dom is getting the better of the exchanges when they do happen.
Even though there's been moments in this fight where Dom's looked gassed or tired, he's got a composure about him that TJ just can't crack.
Yeah, there was a few, like, sometimes he looks like he's, like, breathing heavily and stuff, but, like, you know, he just doesn't stop. And, like, fair fucks to TJ, like, he doesn't either.
Yeah, because of the EPO.
Yeah. Even Joe brings it up. Straight after TJ catches Dom's leg and can't get him down, Dom's still, like, hitting him pretty easy.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan says as TJ gets more flat-footed, it makes Dom more effective, which 100% was correct.
Yeah.
Mike Goldberg then follows up with this is quickly turning into a Dominic Cruz fight.
This is why I love Goldie.
Simple.
It's simple. But Joe was simple, but Joe should know about it. Joe should be able to explain that to you in a more elaborate, fight-friendly way. Goldie's just like, Goldie's about as sharp as a butter knife, and I fucking love it.
I think that was a perfect example of like why they worked well together. Joe said something that actually, you know,
The JR
had a little bit of
King
technicality to it and made sense.
Yeah.
And then,
I don't know about you guys, but I remember 207 was his last card, wasn't it? The Rousey Nunes one.
I think so.
Yeah, I remember at the time thinking, fuck this guy, I fucking hate him, I can't wait for him to leave. And like about a year later, I was like, I just miss him.
Yeah. He was an idiot, but he was arrogant.
Remember that Toyota ad?
Lovable, like,
Yeah, he would goof everything.
That Toyota ad had a fucking old that old 80s love song on. The guy's like fucking his car's crashed and he really misses it.
Yeah,
or some shit.
Goldie was
Baby,
our
come
car.
back. Yeah.
Goldie was our car.
Goldie, come back.
Virtually identical.
I sent you guys that video of like the best Goldie gaps the other night.
Oh,
There were some pearls on there, but I can't remember any of them. Like, would have to watch it again.
he's speaking. He's calling to speaking Japanese. That's Portuguese, Mike. I stand corrected, Joe. Brazilian speaking Japanese.
Lyoto Machida, maybe.
Maybe. He would be speaking during his own piss. Because
Yes.
don't forget that Machida drinks his own weight.
Yeah. Didn't Marquez used to do it? Juan Manuel Marquez? Yeah.
I think he did.
Look,
What always blows my mind
Johnny,
with those cunts who
Johnny.
are doing that is they say about like there's all these vitamins in your pee that you could be getting back in. So, yeah, or you
It's
could just
sterile.
drink some fucking juice.
You
Like,
just get some more vitamins.
yeah. It's also all the toxic shit that your body doesn't want in it.
Apparently there's a lot of fat and shit as well. The
I'm
next
saying
level
this,
would be to like crack
this
an egg
episode of
into
the
your piss.
podcast is brought to you by urine.
Crack an egg in it.
Oh,
I'm just saying this comment of there was one of those like
breakfast of champions.
one of those like cringe channels on YouTube, and it says people talking about how they drink piss, and this dude just says, "Why is it that everyone who drinks piss looks exactly like someone who drink piss?"
Touche. Alright, are we up to round 4 here? Or?
We've got a bit going in round 3,
Oh,
but
sorry.
really, for me, like this was probably the easiest round in the fight to score. Like a lot of rounds weren't hard to score, but this was just super fucking clear.
I don't want to foreshadow too much, but there were a couple of rounds that were difficult to score.
Yeah.
But like Dom gets a takedown, keeps him down for a little bit, attempts a submission, He gets back up. TJ tries to run in and throw one of those wild punches and just instantly fucking cops a jab like the instant he moves forward. And even he gets Dom back to the cage and Dom's just lighting him up with combinations.
Yeah.
He certainly is elusive.
And it sort of showed after the round, TJ's corner actually says to him, like, stop aiming for his head. Aim for his chest.
Aim for his chest and
do
try
leg
and break
kicks.
his arms. You're not knocking him out, basically.
Which I think did turn into good advice.
No, 100%.
That was the only good advice TJ got. That was what they needed to tell him from the get-go, because you're not knocking out a guy like Dominic Cruz.
So that's common in like all combat sports. If you got like an Ali or like a mover, like a dancer, like punch his fucking chest, like that's
Put your fucking hole in his chest.
because the chest doesn't move like the head does.
Yeah.
Man.
I actually remember back when I was trying to do boxing, and I was no good at it, but I had a trainer I'd spar with all the time who had loads of head movement. And he said to me, fucking stop trying to hit him in the head, start like jabbing to the body to open things up.
Yeah.
And it fucking worked. I actually managed to very briefly knock him down, but he was off balance. But I'd fucking thrown the jab to the body.
Was that Quinn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thrown the jab to the body
Yeah,
and then hit him in the head. And
Yeah.
it just happened to be when his fucking feet were squared up. And
Yeah.
he literally bounced up instantly. But like the only good punch I landed on him was fucking off
You
of
could
David
go with the
Glass.
fighter. Quentin, haven't seen him since I knocked him down.
All that matters though is if that was a fight, it would have been 10-8 round, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you knock him down.
I don't know. The amount of punches I got the rest of the time.
Or maybe it was even. Round 4, you got
Yeah.
cornered. Was there anything significant from the corners?
Just that bit from
I've got a
TJ's
little-
corner to
little
where
bit
the
of
head.
pre-round here.
Dom's corner just says the grind is perfect.
And Dom's a bit bloody. He's bleeding from the mouth.
Oh yeah,
Um,
we should have. Yeah,
I think Dom is one of those guys who just kind of bleeds.
definitely think that influenced the judges.
Yeah. But my God, man, the cauliflower ear get that drained.
Yeah.
There's some point in this round where I've obviously got the shits because I've written right up top on my page. They keep saying check hook, but not every time is it a check hook.
Yeah.
Like, literally every time fucking Dom throws a hook, it's like, oh, check hook. And sometimes he's just standing there, TJ's just standing there. Like, it's just a hook, man. Right. This is where TJ sort of starts spamming the leg kicks.
Yeah. Looks
Yeah,
like he kind of hurts
He
TJ with one of
hits,
his leg
he hits
kicks.
the X
That's
button a
Dom.
lot,
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually got it highlighted because that's probably the moment where Dom did get injured from a kick.
Yeah.
He straight away responded by trying to get some takedowns, which, could do well for points if, depending on how the rest of a round goes. So, not a bad response from Dom.
Yeah, it does look like Dom's leg is hurt a little bit because TJ is able to keep him along the fence for a while here.
For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this round, we get TJ for a third time, going for a head kick and falling in his bum like a dumbass.
The thing that sort of is crazy about this, though, like there's this big sort of exchange where TJ's just having loads of success. Like, he counters a kick, gets a takedown, gets his back. Dom gets that back up, but he's holding him against the cage, just kneeing the shit out of his legs for ages.
Yeah.
I don't
Dom breaks, gets the knee to the body, and TJ's bleeding like fucking heaps from his eye and just looks like he's lost that whole exchange.
I don't want to foreshadow. This was easily TJ's best round,
Yeah,
and yet
yeah.
he still looks like a mincemeat at the end of it.
Yeah. It's like
I think Dominic landed one or two punches, and TJ's bloodied and swollen and lumpy, and it's like, bruh, lay off the EPO. All that blood doping, who's the dope now?
I wonder if it does like thin the blood or something. And
I think it makes it
Doesn't
lumpy.
it thickens it, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Wasn't that one
Oh,
of those-
yeah,
The,
that's-
the, ru-
'cause
the
it's like
rumor
red
I
blood
always
cells,
heard was that
yeah.
the guys who were doing it when they were bicycle riders would have to get up at 2 a.m.
to
and
do
cycle
some laps,
behind
yeah.
the bus to do laps so that they wouldn't drown in their own blood while they were sleeping. It's fucking retarded.
Well, this is what Lance Armstrong was doing, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you see that? I can't remember what year it was. 'cause
Get
he
out of the
won-
cage, TJ, and get on a bike.
So he won, didn't he win like 5 or 6 Tour de
Seven.
France in a row?
He's 7.
Oh, in a row, I think
But
there's
when they
5.
went back and tried to give it to the first honest guy who wasn't,
It was like
joking,
15.
it was like 15. Oh, shit. Who? All right. We all have apocalypse bingo over the last couple of years of what's going to fucking bring a downfall of man. Who had on their bingo card cycling being the dirtiest sport?
It kind of makes sense though because
Dude,
it's real
It's more
endurance heavy.
steroids than
Mm.
pro wrestling. And that's saying something.
Right. Any significant notes from between corners in between 4 and 5? Or?
Yeah, so Dom's corner basically wants him to try to finish it. They're saying to him, sit on that right hand because it's leaning every time. TJ says, we're going to touch, and off the hook I need a kick. Like, this we're going to touch thing, like, I think was weird advice. Like, tell your dude to feign.
Alright, I'm going to kind of ruin my scorecard a little bit here by kind of questioning that advice that Cruz has gotten there. He doesn't need to finish, I don't think.
Yeah, same.
But why would they do that? Unless they're worried about the judges judging the fight by the way he looks, because he does look
I
not
think
great.
it's because when you're a guy like Cruz, it's a guy like Lyoto Machida, you may be scoring points, but you're not doing that flashy shit that gets the judges' erections up.
That is actually a good point, because
You could watch a guy...
Machida is a guy who was involved in probably more close fights than anyone else ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the way Cruz is fighting is that...
Point fighting.
It's point fighting. And against a guy who's hitting the... Again, the judges might be scoring half of those punches of him bashing the air in front of Dominic as punches
They probably
landed.
are, yeah. They probably are.
So you've got to tell
one
your
of them-
fighter, hey, we need an exclamation point. We need a full stop on this sentence.
At least one of the judges was judging the air getting bashed.
I've got the judges' scorecards here, and we will get to that. And my God.
So we just got that one more round.
Yeah.
All right.
We're about to go into round 5.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
All right.
This one's
So,
for all the marbles.
TJ opens up, honestly, the way he should, just with leg kicks straight away.
Yeah.
Big body kick.
Cruz is looking a little Gumby leg day, like on those
He's
legs.
very clearly hurt.
I think it's in this
And-
round where he has a stage where he literally looks like he stumbles over nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
his leg's
his leg
definitely
is clearly
fucking hurt.
busted. He does land a sort of spinning back fist that looked really nice.
Yeah, actually landing some really good combinations this round as well. He sort of gets some bits where he seems to be getting the shits with being hit and then just fucking runs forward, spamming some punches, lands in the
It seems to
fucking
me that
everything.
his footwork is starting to fail him because of that injury, and he's focusing more energy on making TJ think he's not hurt
Yeah.
than trying to attack TJ. And this is where he's starting to falter a bit.
Even though the pressure from TJ, I thought Cruz was countering well for the most part in a lot of the exchanges in the 5th round.
Agreed. Especially towards the end, he sort of started to take over again.
Yeah.
Lands a big combination with some hard lefts, like right at the end. Big right hand toward the end as well. And closes it out stronger. in my opinion.
Yeah.
A really good... This round was really hard to score, but I think Cruz had a really solid ending to it.
I mentioned earlier, this was one of the rounds I rewatched.
Rewatch, yeah.
Same with me. I
Turns out-
rewatched 2 and 5.
Turns out it didn't affect my scorecard a great deal anyway, but I still rewatched it.
I wanted to rewatch 2 and 5, I just didn't get time, unfortunately.
Before we get... I just want... One of you guys mentioned Rogan's comments before. Before we get to the official decision and our decision, I didn't notice this during the broadcast. Did Rogan mention who he thought won, or has he said anything since that any of you know of?
I don't think so. I think the only bit was in round 2 or 3 when like he and Goldberg were saying it's turned into a Dominic Cruz fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only indication.
There's-
Oh, I don't know how reliable Rogan is because he does blood dope on the marijuanas.
It would be interesting to know because immediately after this fight, there was a lot of butthurt online, especially from like TJ fans, obviously. But
I'm looking at the official scorecard here, and I can just sense the butthurt because in my opinion, 2 of these judges are just off their chops.
all right, now we mentioned it. Trev, do you want to grace us with the official scorecards?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Do you have the names of the judges on there?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
I know.
hit us up.
David Ginsburg scores this fight.
Bro, you should have done the whole thing as Buffer.
What's going on, guys? I can't do the whole thing. I'll try here. Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge David Ginsburg scores the fight. 48-47. Cruz. Tony Sol D'Amato scores the fight. 49-46. Dillashaw. And Tony Weeks scores the fight. 49-46.
You're a winner.
To your winner by split decision, Dominic the Dominator Cruz.
I don't know.
That was very well done, brother.
It was.
That is a fucking hard thing to maintain.
When he read out Saldamato's scorecard, there were some boos from the audience straight away.
Because that's fucking
So-
retarded.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so I don't
ridiculous.
know why there was all that butthurt online, because
There was.
But
Yeah,
I maintain
like,
49
this is-
and 46 for Cruz is almost just as retarded.
we'll get to that in a minute.
Fuck you.
But what this means to me, and something I always say about, is I think there are too many people out there who think that if a dude's walking forwards, he automatically wins.
100%. How many times have you seen that in big people who hate Mayweather fights?
Yeah. Oh, he's running all the time.
He's
Like,
running.
he probably, for
How many,
someone who
like,
fights on the outside, he runs less than a lot of them. Like,
Bro, the thing is, like, a lot of the time he doesn't even run. He just, like, pop shots people from the pocket and then moves. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off topic. What is your scorecard?
Hayden scores this fight 49-47. Cruz. Ben scores the fight 49-47. Cruz.
Yes.
And I score the fight. And I score the fight 48-47. Cruz. For your winner by unanimous decision, Dominic the Dominator Cruz.
Very well done.
Oh, it's so hard to do.
Yeah, anyone can score this fight for TJ is beyond me.
Yeah,
Just
like
straight
that
up,
is a
yeah.
that is a shit scorecard.
But by that wide margin.
Yeah, especially that he thinks that TJ lost one round.
One
I
round.
gave
So-
1 round to TJ, the 4th round. 5th round I gave even.
Yeah, I had the exact same.
Yeah. I
And-
just found for the majority of this fight, like Trev said, which is another contender for show title, he was punching the air in front of Cruz. There's
Beating up the
so
air,
much of
yeah.
the fight. Like, there's
I just want the judges to, when they score a fight, then have to go into an isolated booth, watch the fight in its entirety, and write a rationale as to why. Because I want to know why. I'm not.
how could you give that to
How?
TJ?
How do you do it? How do you misjudge that so far?
And for all these cunts who going about the walking forward matters so much. Walking forward is just a way to set up your strikes.
Yeah,
It is
walking
not-
forward's great, but connecting with the opponent.
Is that
yeah.
is that like what they call ring or octagon generalship, whatever?
It can be, but
Because
so can
walking
like
forward
dancing
means-
around on the outside.
Exactly. Like,
It's the same as
if you're controlling the terms of fight they held on, which I thought Dom done for most of that fight, like,
Yeah.
isn't that?
but also too,
To
it's
me,
like this.
there's
Well, TJ landed this amount of significant strikes. It's a fight.
Yeah.
It's a fucking fight. What is an insignificant strike? Sorry, bro. Insignificantly struck your thigh, man.
Could I just tell you
Actually, I
guys?
did read what they say is an insignificant strike, and it's short range and ground strikes.
What? That's
What?
retarded.
Yeah,
That makes even
it's
less
dumb
sense.
as
So,
dog shit, man.
so you mean like a slip uppercut
Okay.
technically lands at short range, which could
So
technically knock someone out? Is that it?
So I'm in full
think so,
mount
yeah.
on Ben. I posture up, and I drop elbows.
Yeah, you could technically knock
that's
someone
an
out with
insignificant
insignificant strikes.
How
Is
does
It's
that make
dumb
sense?
as dog shit, eh?
What, is that like the unified rules kind of?
I think it's.
That is ridiculous.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's CompuStrike that does it. I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that
that's-
makes sense.
that's fucking
Compass strike is
stupid.
compass
So I
strike.
bring
is
up-
fucked.
I want to
Yeah.
bring up something here that
Can I just?
that really fucking grinds my gears, and this was brought up. I
I was
remember.
going to say before you do that, can I say we're entering the rant period now. So if anyone
Yeah.
wants to tune out after the review period, feel free.
It's
But
one of my-
we're in the rant.
No, don't
Please
feel
stick
free.
around.
Listen to our rant.
It's one of
Let's do
my
it.
biggest rants in all of combat sport. And the only reason I'm bringing up this fight is because I remember seeing a comment online saying, someone arguing for TJ winning, saying, the turn of phase I hate the most in all combat sports. It's so fucking stupid, which is... Sorry, there's something. The single stupidest phase in all combat sports is, well, it's like, to beat the champ.
You got to beat the champ.
Yeah,
To
like-
be the champ, you got to beat the
Which
champ.
is essentially justifying robberies on the part of the champion in any fight that's somewhat close.
So there's,
Yeah,
there's actually
I
a
fucking
pretty,
hate that.
there's actually a pretty clear solution to this. Championship fights don't have rounds or judges or time limits. You literally put the champion and the challenger in the cage until one of them says, "I can't go anymore."
But
But I have a better solution to
that,
this.
What that expression means is that, like, essentially the challenger has to knock out the champ, which is retarded. But
It's
the
ridiculous.
rule says all you
Because
have to
we've
do.
had some lopsided decisions where a champion's won a robbery.
Literally, all you have to do is win more rounds. That's fucking it.
I've got a
That's the
better
point of the
solution
game.
that's
Yeah.
like specific to this fight. So Dominic Cruz vacated his title and therefore was still the lineal champion. So in order for Dillashaw to win, it is one of those dumbass fucking arguments. So like, no matter what, every fight should be scored individually.
Yeah.
You should not go in with any sort of preconceptions about, about someone's power, about how much someone gets hurt. Fucking, it has to be done on that fight.
So should we talk a little post?
Yeah, like, you enjoy the fight?
Yes.
Loved it.
It was great.
Loved it.
Yeah, fantastic fight. And as Joe Rogan says at one point in it, it's like the fight to watch if you want to watch technical striking.
Yeah.
This is the thing with Dominic Cruz, and this is what I love about Dominic Cruz, and I love about Lyoto Machida. It ain't pretty. Like, it's not pretty. But it's an amazing display of martial arts. And sometimes martial arts ain't pretty.
Yeah.
I think he had a super short prime because of his injuries. But in his prime was probably the best defensive fighter in UFC.
What we could have had with a healthier Dominic Cruz. And not to say that he fucked around. Obviously, a lot of it wasn't his fault. I mean, for one thing, he had kind of fasciitis, which is fucked. That's like the webbing under the skin of your feet. You wouldn't wish it on anyone.
An interesting way to think about Dom Cruz is a 37-year-old Dominic Cruz is even to this day top 10 in what I would say is the deepest division in the UFC at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a little bit more post. So what happens after this fight? Dominic makes title defense against Faber, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
And then he loses to Garbrandt.
Yeah.
Garbrandt.
I think that was a couple of years later, was it? Was that like UFC 200 or something?
I feel
no,
there was
199 he beat Faber, and then he lost the title at 207. The undercard of Rousey. Who destroyed Rousey?
Nunes.
Yeah. Nunes, yeah. And then what does TJ do after this? He wins a couple more.
EPO.
He wins a couple more fights, and then he gets the TJ fight. The Garbrandt fight. And he wins both of those.
Shaves years of Garbrandt's career.
Literally, like,
of his life.
Literally destroys his chin.
Yeah.
But and then he loses to Cejudo. And then he has what? How long does he end up serving? 2 or 3 years he served?
Here's what annoys me though, like, he has that win and then he fights Cejudo, which if he wasn't on EPO might have been Garbrandt. Could have been a totally different outcome because while I don't think he was the wrestler that Cruz or Dillashaw was, he's got big fucking power.
Yeah,
like maybe he knocks out Cejudo. And then, TJ has that 2-year layoff, comes back, scrapes by in a decision, and then, which is another one we have to review.
The Sandhagen one?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a bit iffy though, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then puts an asterisk on the fucking Aljamain Sterling fight as well because he doesn't declare that he's got a busted shoulder.
That's one of the biggest.
And then afterwards
moves.
Feels like bringing it up.
Like, I actually do believe that he was, like, injured going into that fight.
100%, yeah.
And I probably understand he probably needed the money, but, like...
This is what makes it so much worse.
That division is so packed. That,
don't hold up the division.
Cheeto Vera could have gotten that fight at Sandhagen, like O'Malley, Jan, there's 4 or 5 guys who could have gotten that shot.
There's a lot of
dudes that were on that card.
Yeah, exactly. What are we saying, sir?
No, I was just agreeing with you. The hell holding up that division like that.
And he's going to be out for like another year pretty much now to get shoulder surgery. Like,
Good.
Don't come back forever. Yeah.
Just retire. He's already 36. Like by the time he comes back, he'll be late 37, 38. Like, just go. Like, I guess we can't question his whole title reign because we don't have that much.
Again, as I say,
we don't have proof that he was doing it, but
you've got to put the asterisks there.
Yeah.
That's my thing. When a guy pops like that and pops for something so ridiculous like blood doping.
Yeah. This is not gas station dick pills.
No. This isn't. Yeah, it's John Jones. It's been 4 hours and it hasn't gone down. It's not dick pills, right? This is actual full-on doping. So this shit doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's like, is this the first time or just the first time?
Yeah, I tend to agree.
And I can't believe that he just suddenly just decided, we're gonna fucking blood dope.
Some people have said because of the weight cut, what he cut down to 125 to fight Cejudo. Some people saying it might have been just for that, but I don't know, man. Like, none of us.
No, it's not. Just saying,
we'll probably never know.
But again,
I reckon, like,
that's
it's
why
one of
you've
those
got to have
ones
that
where you
asterisk
probably
now.
never know, but there's a pretty good indication.
Yeah.
Like, his style relies entirely on cardio.
I agree.
Like, he stops people with cardio, does it in the 5th round multiple times.
Yeah.
And now he can't blood dope his cardio. It's fine.
And that's my final point before we close things out is Dominic Cruz, the bantamweight goat for you guys.
100%.
Absolutely.
Well,
100%, yeah.
one of the things we said earlier is Demetrius Johnson went to flyweight basically because
He couldn't beat
He
Cruz.
couldn't be
Yeah.
Cruz.
And look, he's beaten 2 of the other top contenders for that title. Like, I don't know if Faber's a top contender for that title, but he's beat him twice anyway.
And for
He
people,
beat Dillashaw, regardless of what the judges said here. I thought it was pretty clear.
Yeah.
I think
yeah, it should never have been a split decision.
No.
That was clear.
scoring it 4-1 for Dillashaw. I want that judge to be sat down.
And kicked in the face.
Not necessarily at gunpoint. But
5 minutes.
gunpoint would fucking help.
5 minutes alone with Teddy Atlas while he just fucking yells at him.
And just explain why. I'm just genuinely curious to know why.
Yeah, I think all judges should be forced to do that.
To put out a rationale as to why.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't see the result of the pay-per-view till the next morning. That's fucked, but
Yeah.
why not? I'll get off my soapbox now.
Wrap.
We're going to wrap up. Today's episode brought to you by meth.
And EPO.
Clean, refreshing meth.
Should we give a hint what we're doing next? What are we doing next? Who's
Well,
picking next?
It's my pick. Guys, I don't want to spoil anything, but I have fucking no idea.
Yeah.
We had been talking about something. We got to run it by Ben.
I've
that
got
is true.
I've got some suggestions, but I picked this fight, so I think it's your turn.
I think it's Travis, but we've been talking about doing it.
We've been cahooting.
All right.
Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Don't
Bye.
take EPO.